How do you improve clay soil without tilling? There are quite a few different methods that you can undertake, and I'm going to tell you about them today. Be sure to stick around to the end to find the one thing that is commonly done which does not actually help the structure of the clay. And the problem with clay soils is that they're cold and wet and heavy, and because they don't let a lot of air down to the roots of the plants, some plants can suffocate and some of them drown, and the amount of moisture that's down there is not great for soil biology to live down there either, and so the soils tend to be quite dead. They're very mineral rich, but they don't have the soil biology in there to turn those minerals into a chelated form that the plants can use. The upside to clay soil is it's full of minerals and it's really good at retaining water. The downside is when it dries out, it tends to set like concrete, and also those minerals just aren't as available to the plants as a soil full of organic life would be. The upside to tilling a soil is it loosens it up and lets that soil biology down the bottom get some air. It also allows the soil to dry up a little bit, but the downside to it is it's quite destructive. It kills a lot of earthworms, and all that soil that you dig up, it won't stay soft for very long. As soon as there's a heavy rain and it becomes quite soggy again, it will set to concrete. The common ways to improve the structure of the clay is one, to add organic amendments, and this is definitely the thing that I really recommend. Organic amendments, usually involving compost or manure, can either be dug through or left on the top of the soil, and these bring nutrition, they bring soil biology and life, and they improve the quality of the texture of the soil, improve how well it drains, and is generally all in all much better for the soil than just a clay base. The second is adding gypsum. Now gypsum is that white chalky stuff that's often used in the centre of like drywall or plasterboard, but you can buy it in a bag and it looks like a lime powder, and you sprinkle it over and you dig it through, and it helps to loosen up that and break down that clay soil. The third thing that people often try that really doesn't work is to add gravel or to add sand to the clay, and usually all that ends up doing is adding more structure to that concrete-like substance, and you'll end up with a harder, drier soil. Also, it takes a phenomenal amount of sand to help break up the clay. You're much better off spending that time and effort in moving compost instead. Now there's two main methods to sorting the soil out that I recommend. One of them is faster but will cost you some money, and the other is slightly slower but you can do it pretty much for free. The fastest option is to put down a layer or even a double layer of cardboard on top of the soil, and this means you don't even have to weed it or pull the grass out. You can just put the cardboard straight down, and then on top of that you want to be adding 4 to 6 inches of compost, and if you don't have that volume of homemade compost, you're going to have to buy it. The upside to this method is it gives you a planting medium right in the top that you can get going with straight away, and the earthworms will come to that and they will start bringing it down into the clay, and they will start mixing it and aerating that clay soil and bringing the minerals from the soil up into the compost as well. The free option does take a little longer. Again, you start with that cardboard on the bottom, and then you can layer up layers of organic matter as you can find it and as it becomes available. Options include animal manures, even newspaper or other bits of cardboard, sticks, dry leaves and grass, and then top the whole thing with a big layer of mulch. So wood mulch is often available pretty much for free from many arborists, and if they're not free then they're pretty cheap. Or if you've got yourself a shredder, you can do it with your own hedge clippings. Now the problem with this is it will need to break down for a while before you can plant into it. One option is to then make pockets and fill it with some ready-made potting mix or some ready to plant in compost, and then you can plant into those little pockets and just allow the rest to continue to break down. Same thing happens, it attracts the earthworms and the little red wrigglers or tiger worms, whatever the popular composting worm is where you are, and they will naturally be attracted to that area, and they will start breaking it down and digging it down into the clay, and it will slowly mix through. Adding some worms out of a worm farm, or even if you bought some, is a way of speeding this process up as well. Just add a good handful every couple of meters. What's that, every 10 square feet? Every 10 square feet. And then all you need to do is keep adding that organic matter every year, and that soil will continue to improve as you go. And the one thing that a lot of people do to loosen up clay soil that probably isn't necessary is actually broad forking. It can be helpful in some situations to help drive pores down into the clay, but actually they just fill up with water as well. It can be used in some situations, and some people have found really good success with it. Over the long term, studies have shown that it actually long term makes no great difference. That long term, just leaving the organic matter on the top of the soil and letting the earthworms do their job is just as effective. Have you got any tips or tricks on improving clay soil without tilling? Please let us know about them in the comments below. I love to hear what your ideas are. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have, be sure to check out these other gardening videos that I've put together just for you.